Welcome to Talking Comfort Live, a video podcast where HVAC professionals go for fun, learning, and sharing, while exploring the world of mini splits, heat pumps, and the inverter technology that brings efficient comfort to our fascinating industry. We're looking for you to be a part of the show. If you have a question, whether it centers around application, installation, preventative maintenance, troubleshooting, a future technology, or anything we share on the show, send it our way by clicking the question mark icon to the right of your screen. Now, on to Talking Comfort Live.
Welcome back. We'd like to thank you for your participation during last month's show. Today, we're going to be covering even more interesting topics that affect you and your place in the HVAC world. And we're counting on you to get involved. So as a reminder, if you have questions or comments anytime during the broadcast, use the question mark icon to the right of the screen and send those questions our way. After the GREE Comfort team talks for a bit, we'll regroup at the end of the session and start answering any relevant questions until our time runs out. Here's a rundown of what we're covering today. Greg Bruntz will cover selecting the master zone when installing a GREE multi-zone system. Then we'll hear from Justin Salisbury on the latest updates from GREE and the coming A2L refrigerant changes. Next, Daniel will show us how to connect an iPhone to a GREE indoor unit using the GREE Plus Wi-Fi app. And then finally, James will join me to discuss the basic layout procedure for a MultiPRO system and the updates to our new System Builder app. Again, this is your opportunity to connect with us and become more comfortable with the latest in GREE comfort. With that said, let's send it over to Greg, who's coming from our Atlanta training studio. Greg?
Hi, Greg with GREE. I want to show you on the MultiPRO systems, since they auto-address, how on for example, a wall mount, you can change which unit is the master indoor unit. Because remember, the master indoor unit is what controls your mode. There is no mode conflict with MultiPRO. All right, in order to set the indoor unit to be the master, first thing we need to do is set the mode to fan. So I got the remote set to fan mode. Next thing we're going to do is use the up key to set the temperature to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Once we got it set to 86 degrees Fahrenheit and in fan mode, then we're going to do the up and down arrow keys, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And just keep doing that till you see the indoor unit say UC. Once it says UC, now you've just commanded that indoor unit to be the master indoor unit. All right, so in order to change this unit to being the master unit, you set the mode to fan, and then you set the temperature to 86 degrees. As you can see, right there, it's 86 degrees. Now we're going to hit up, down, up, down, up, down, until it says UC, like that. Once it says UC like that, now that has become the master indoor unit. Hope that helps you out with multi-zone systems. And remember, with GREE, we're always by your side.
So today I want to talk about the upcoming refrigerant change. So if you haven't heard, the United States signed a few global climate treaties such as the Kyoto Treaty and the following Kigali Amendment, and that put a limitation on our greenhouse gas emissions. And how that affects our industry is that we now have an upcoming refrigerant change to low GWP or low global warming potential refrigerants. This new program is also better known as the EPA's Technologies Transition Program. So what does that mean for us? So in January 1st, 2025, all ductless, flex, packaged products, and our MultiPRO will have to change over to a new low GWP refrigerant. Our three-phase VRF systems won't be changing over until January 1st, 2026, so 1 year later. How we'll be handling that is GREE has decided to go to R32. Why did we choose R32? Well, obviously R32 has a low global warming potential. It's below the 700 threshold that has been set by the EPA. R32 is also shown to have more capacity than 410A and more efficiency. So we'll have better performing units out there. R32 also doesn't contain any of those dangerous fluorine forever chemicals like some of the other refrigerants out there. So it's going to be less toxic, healthier for you to handle. R32 also doesn't have a patent on it, so that should make it more readily available and less expensive than some of the other competing refrigerants out there. Also, R32 has been used successfully around the globe safely with no problems, no big issues. However, what you have to know is most of these new low GWP refrigerants are known as A2L refrigerants. The A means it's low toxicity. If you see a B in that position, it means it is toxic. The 2 is more likely the sticking point for most people. The 2 means it is slightly flammable. So all of these new refrigerants coming out will most likely be flammable. That's going to require safety changes to the equipment, such as indoor sensors that detect refrigerant leaks and shut the unit off to prevent any kind of fire or anything like that. That will also change the inventory strategy for most of the distributors. So we'll have all new equipment coming out next year in 2024, gearing up for that 2025 changeover. And we also have to note that all of the R32 equipment coming out is not backwards compatible to the old 410A equipment. It's new refrigerant, new compressors, and because of the safety requirements, you can't take R410A ductless head and put it on an R32 outdoor unit. It won't work and it's unsafe. So with that, contractors will have to undergo additional training on the refrigerant, how to handle it, how to install it, and how to service systems that utilize these new A2L refrigerants. That's also going to require new tools, new gauges, new recovery tanks, things like that. So what we need everyone to understand is this problem is not going to go away. You have to embrace it. It's going to be the law. I know we're all bemoaning it. We're all kind of unsure what's going to happen with this changeover. You've already lived through the last two probably. We went from R12 to R22, and then R22 to R410A, and it was a major pain, but it never went away. You either had to embrace it and move forward, or you just probably didn't do business anymore. So what you need to understand is that there will be winners, the people who embrace this technology, move forward with it full steam ahead, and there will be losers. This presents a great opportunity for your businesses out there if you embrace it and you train on it and you understand it. As more information becomes available, we will be publishing resources in 2024 to help guide you through this change. We'll be updating our training presentations. We're setting our 2024 training schedule, and keep on the lookout for new product bulletins that we're going to send out through our usual means, email, LinkedIn, so on and so forth. The best resource for additional information will be our website, greecomfort.com. Also, you're going to want to tune in monthly to Talking Comfort Live. As more information becomes available, we're definitely going to be talking about it here on the show. So if you have any specific questions, please feel free to reach out or your local rep.
We've got a lot of questions on hooking up the Wi-Fi. Today we're going to show utilizing an iPhone and connecting Wi-Fi to the GREE Plus app on a indoor unit. We've got two different remotes that you may see. The one on the right here is the newest remote we have coming with the 4LIV and the 3VLR, and you'll notice it has a Wi-Fi button, and then the previous model also has a Wi-Fi button on there. So what we have here is JD's iPhone, and he's logged into the GREE Plus app already. Let's connect it up, JD.
All right. So first we need to send the signal to the head. So we need to make sure we have Wi-Fi lit up on the remote.
You'll notice on the two remotes that you have sitting there, JD, neither one of them says Wi-Fi on the display, does it?
Nope.
So we've got to make sure that we turn the Wi-Fi on. So just push the Wi-Fi button on that one, and you see Wi-Fi on the display.
Yep.
Now on this one, you push the Wi-Fi button, and then if you push it again, see on this one, if you just short press it, it stays.
Right.
And on this one, if you short press it, it goes away. So it's real easy to accidentally turn this one off, whereas this one you have to actually hold down that button before the word Wi-Fi will go away. Once you get it connected and you accidentally push the Wi-Fi button and disable the Wi-Fi, it'll be as if it disconnected. All you have to do is push the button again and it'll re-enable it.
Automatically reconnect.
And you'll connect back up with your phone to the app. All right, so on your iPhone, click plus, and then press AC. And then this gives us directions on how to reset the Wi-Fi module that is contained in the indoor unit.
Step one, we're going to turn off the air conditioner.
All right, so I'm going to turn the unit off.
So step two, we press mode and Wi-Fi buttons simultaneously, and you will hear a beep, which means reset is succeeded.
All right, I'm holding down mode and Wi-Fi. I heard the beep.
Okay. So a Wi-Fi module can only release hotspot 2 minutes after it is reset.
Now what that means, JD, is after you hold down mode and Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi signal that the module in the indoor unit broadcasts, after 2 minutes it will broadcast that signal, and then you can connect to it and give it your Wi-Fi internet password and name and password.
Okay. So now we hit next.
So here you want to make sure that's the correct network for your home Wi-Fi, right? Now, if you'll press the little I button so you can see the password, there you go. So you just want to verify that password is correct. Go ahead and press next. While it's sitting here searching for the device,
Add manually.
it may come up after about 2 minutes, but you can try to add manually, JD. And what that says is please connect your mobile phone Wi-Fi to the following hotspots. So you have to find the one that the GREE module is broadcasting.
Right.
And at the moment, it's not released the signal yet.
There it is.
All right, the C67, yeah, that's it. So click on that. And if it asks you for a password, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And we go up here to our GREE Plus.
Yep, go back to GREE Plus. Now it's connecting the router with the device. It'll take a little bit for it to send the Wi-Fi of the home network to the device, basically programming it.
There it is.
So once you've got it connected, the indoor unit beeped, and then you can choose whatever room you want to, it's fine. Then just click done. You can change the device name as well, so if you wanted to name it bedroom 1 or whatever. Now that you've got it added, you can control the indoor unit using the GREE Plus app.
Just hit the power button,
Yeah.
and you can control the mode. Just hit the mode button. Cool or heat. So we can switch to cool. Just hit that, lower that down, and then you can hit up or down. So we're going to go down.
So you can add up to an infinite number of indoor units on the GREE Plus app. I think it's like 100 or something. Just go through that same process to add each one. The biggest thing is to make sure that home network password is correct before you move forward past that.
Right.
And then you should be successful every time with it. All right, JD, well, it looks like it's successfully connected up and working.
Thanks, Daniel, and thank you for joining. And with GREE, we're by your side.
Hey everyone, Daniel with GREE here. I wanted to show on the website our simple hassle-free warranty. Now, if you're not familiar with it, there is no requirement for you to submit a claim. However, in some situations, such as a refrigerant leak, we do require the warranty claim form be filled out along with some documentation. Now, if you've seen the old one before, this is the form that you had to fill out here. And we have moved it over to a web form. So if you go to resources and warranty and click on the warranty program, brings you to this page. And there is the warranty brochure, the limited warranty statements. There's a handy job site form there if you need some help with that. And if you want to file a claim, click the open claim button. It gives you the requirements up here, and it also gives you all of the places to put the information. You can upload your data plate, picture, and the purchase receipt, install invoice. So once you hit submit on the form, there's no need to print it, fax it, or send to Pony Express. The info goes directly to the warranty department for review, and that's a hassle-free way that we're helping you in the cases where you do need to fill out a warranty claim form. With GREE, we're by your side.
Here at GREE, we all like making things as simple as possible. MultiPro systems can utilize up to 10 indoor units and hundreds of feet of piping, and we have software called MultiPro Selector available at GreeComfort.com that makes that pretty easy. However, most systems will have a simpler layout and much shorter piping. So we have developed a tool we're calling the Basic Layout. A basic layout is a system that has only one indoor unit, a system using 2 indoor units connected by a Y branch, or a system using 3 to 8 indoor units using only one 4-port header or an 8-port header. The vast majority of MultiPro systems will have this simplified layout. If your system design must meet any of the following criteria, you'll use MultiPro Selector instead of the basic layout. If you need more than one Y branch, or if you need more than one header, you'll use the MultiPro Selector. If your job requires longer than the piping length described within the basic layout, you'll use the MultiPro Selector. Finally, if you need more than 8 indoor units, you'll again use the MultiPro Selector. The piping limitations of the single zone basic layout are simple. For the 2 and 2.5 ton single zone, the maximum length from the outdoor unit to the indoor unit is 328 feet. For the 3 ton, 4 ton, and 5 ton, the maximum length is 393 feet. The maximum height difference when the outdoor unit is above the indoor unit is 98 feet for the 2 and 2.5 ton, and 164 feet for the 3 ton and up. The maximum height difference when the outdoor unit is below the indoor unit is 98 feet for the 2 and 2.5 ton, and 131 feet for the 3 ton and above. A little more complex than the single zone basic layout, the dual zone basic layout has shorter overall line set limitations to keep things simple. The maximum length from the outdoor unit to the Y branch is 98 feet. The maximum length from the Y branch to either indoor unit is 30 feet. The maximum height difference is 98 feet, just like the maximum line set length. The size of the main piping, or the piping from the outdoor unit to the Y branch, is determined by the capacity of the outdoor unit. The piping size from the Y branch to the indoor unit is determined by the capacity of the indoor unit. In most cases, smaller rooms will be using 1/4 and 1/2 inch, while almost all larger spaces will be using 3/8 and 5/8 line set. Even at its most complex, the multi-zone MultiPro basic layout is still simple with easy to follow rules. This layout will always utilize a 4-port or 8-port header. Each zone cannot exceed 4 tons. As before, the piping size from the outdoor unit to the header are determined by the capacity of the outdoor unit. The piping sizes from the header to the indoor units are determined by the indoor unit capacity. The piping length limitations are the same as the dual zone basic layout. 30 feet may seem a bit short, but think about it like this. A Y branch or header will have a radius of 30 feet all the way around it. If that were placed in the center of a building, you could hypothetically cover a space of more than 2,800 square feet. How many spaces of that size require less than 5 tons? Almost none. But if you do come across a job that won't meet the specs of a basic layout, our MultiPro Selector is easy to use and provides a printout that includes system information like piping and wiring diagrams. Simple or complex, at GREE, we make it as easy as possible. GREE, we're by your side.
Some great information on the basic layout of the MultiPro system. So James, let's you and I have a conversation about basic layout. I know that's been something that's near and dear to your heart, that you put a lot of time in, a lot of energy. And first of all, can we just kind of talk about why it's important with the MultiPro, why you have to do the line set selection and you have to do the basic layout, and why why is line sizing important on the MultiPro?
Well, the line sizing is important, just like if you're doing ductwork, right? If you've got a main trunk of piping, for example, every time you take some capacity off of that by going to a unit, in order to maintain the velocity of refrigerant, the proper volume of refrigerant, you got to reduce that piping size. That piping size is going to be larger if you've got more capacity downstream, and smaller if you've got less capacity downstream. So it's flow, refrigerant, airflow, water flow, it's all the same type of flow. But the reason why the basic layout was developed was after going on 16 years now of dealing with these types of systems. Most manufacturers, when they're doing multi-pro style systems, they're telling you to use software, some software that you're sitting at a desktop, trying to use, Windows only compatibility, that kind of thing. And that's always, it's a useful tool, but it also, has a tendency to over engineer some of the more simple systems that you can lay out with, like with MultiPro. And so, in effect, we were able to look at it and see that we had a lot of just very basic rules, very basic piping rules. And so we developed a guide, using that, called the basic layout. And it should take care of, 90 some odd % of jobs. If you've got a single zone, like an outdoor unit and an air handler, very basic rule. If you've got just a couple of zones, like a lot of systems are, just some basic rules there too. So, I mean, you can do all the way up to 8 zones and still just follow some basic rules, let you know what your piping is. It's just a really easy way to do it. And you can do that in the front seat of your van, or, I mean, preferably not while driving. But you can do that in the front seat of your truck or whatever. You're not sitting at a computer, or anything like that. So it's pretty easy way to lay it out.
So basically, is what just to recap what you're saying, it was a tool that you developed for the simple jobs to make it easier for the installer. You don't have to sit down and go through an elaborate software system, which we do have for those commercial jobs and more elaborate jobs. But for 90% of the jobs you were seeing from your time in tech support and 16 years of supporting it, this hits 90+% of the jobs that are being installed with MultiPro. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can share my own experience on that. Was running the piping and stuff in my own house. I was crawling out from under the house and going and double checking on my computer, with dirty hands and all that. Yeah. And going back and forth like that over and over again. I didn't have much in the way of, I didn't have a helper or anything. But when I was putting this in, I was going back and forth, double checking, that kind of thing, or printing out a refrigeration diagram from the software and all that really complicated way to lay it out. So we chose to make it simpler for the install, the people that are designing. So I know we've been working on this with our team, everybody that's on the call today, that we've been working for some months on the system builder application on our website. So where are we at on launching the system builder? And it's the MultiPro, this basic layout in the system builder? Well, in fact, on the system builder, the Ultra Heat models, our new Ultra Heat V models, is the latest update that we've done on the system builder. That is the system builder actually enables you to take it further than the basic layout itself. If you have a more complicated, a more complex system, or if you're trying to extend past what those basic layout piping rules are, that's built into the system builder itself. It's on our website. So, you can log in via your phone or a desktop or something like that, tablet. And it's also a very easy way to put together a system that will work, a properly designed system. And it also gives you a nice printout, that you can give to the customer, to describe what kind of system you're looking at. And we're constantly improving that, with all kinds of added features and stuff. But yeah, I mean, basically those piping rules are the same, but you actually can take it out to its maximum now. So in the system builder, so even further than the basic piping rules. So more and more steps how we agree have made it easier for the end user to sell our products is on our website at GreeComfort.com under tools. We have the system builder. You can go in and take the system builder. You can match a ductless system. It'll tell you the indoor unit, the outdoor unit. You can do a nice printout, gives you the specs. And so the MultiPro is on that. And as James is saying, you can go in and lay out your job, give the line set dimensions and do a printout, and it'll actually match up the units, tell you the line set size. And does it tell you the refrigerant charge too? It does. It gives you the additional refrigerant charge based on the lengths of piping that you put in. And it's also really easy to use on a phone too. We've got it set up so that you can just scroll up and add more zones as you go through.
If you don't mind, I'd like to make a couple of comments regarding that too, just to make sure the audience hears this. But when you use System Builder, once you create a login, it saves all your jobs for you too. so
Yes.
that if you have to go back and refer to it, you don't have to go back and redo the whole job. It'll be there for you in your login unless you physically delete it.
Right.
And so every job you ever build, you'll have record of it on System Builder just from your login.
Right, like the additional refrigerant charge, for example. Like if you need it for some reason in the future, like if you want to add a unit or something, you can go back and add it, and then you already have all the information there. You can add a unit or what have you.
Yeah. Well, I think it's obvious if you look at the success we've had with MultiPro here at GREE. The MultiPro has been one of our fastest growing products over the last 2 years. That, James, you've been using the basic layout process that you've seen the video there for what, at least 2 years?
Right. Like I say, I've laid out a lot of jobs. I mean, we've laid out a lot of jobs, and 9 times out of 10, you could go back and look at the basic pipe, the basic layout, and it is you could have easily done it that way.
Yeah.
You could have done it on the fly. It
Yeah.
doesn't require tons of engineering and stuff like that. I mean, we've got those options as well, of course. If you want something more detailed, or you're taking
And
things
I think the biggest thing overlooked here is the ability of being able to do one-to-one.
Yeah.
And it is a very efficient system, a very functional system, and it can be used to replace a unitary product in a one-to-one application, which also gives you the ability that you could do that and actually add a wall mount to that same build or something, in like a retrofit application, whatever. So I think some of that's being missed. So we want to make sure that we point that out as well.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I think we have a track record, for those of you that may be new to the GREE MultiPro, I think you have peace of mind to know that these systems will help you lay it out. Don't be scared. This is a new system. It's kind of what I say, it's the next step in indoor comfort. And it's, it's our Cadillac system, and just all kind of features and benefits. Greg has one at his house. James has one at his house. We all believe in the product. We want you to try a product that we think it works well. James, as we're starting to kind of close out on the basic layout, what additional thoughts would you have for the audience that might be new to the MultiPro? What points could you give them as they go to lay out a system like this?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. The KISS principle is something that we abide by pretty often. And Greg likes to tell me, KISS all the time, keep it simple, stupid, right? Constantly. I have a tendency to overthink some things. But yeah, I mean, you can lay out a system with as many zones as you want, basically, 8 zones, that kind of thing. My system, I've got it laid out in 4 zones. Does everybody want 4 zones? Does everybody want 4 indoor units? Does everybody want ductless units? Does everybody? No, of course not. Not everybody wants all those things. And but we've definitely seen a growing amount of systems that end up using like 2 ducted units. Like an upstairs and downstairs, or a living area and bedrooms. Those types of layouts have become very common.
Yes.
An air handler for the retrofit, and then that sunroom that never got good cooling, or Four Seasons room, or whatever you want to call it, that kind of thing. So,
well, James, I'm going to quote you in this because you were absolutely right when you said it. I'm going to quote you here.
Okay.
If you haven't had the opportunity to have a wall mount in your main room, or the guest room, what do you want to call it, the owner's suite or the master bedroom, you ain't living yet.
Yeah,
that is by far just amazing, because he said that to me one day and I'm like, he ain't wrong. I love having that unit in my master bedroom. So
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I will say that if you sleep hot, you want it nice and cold in there. You don't have to have the whole house cold, that kind of thing. I will say that your spouse may freeze you out, but that's just how it goes. At least one of you's happy, right?
Yeah, well, and you guys are bringing up good points, and that's why the MultiPro the timing is right. You can mix ductless and ducted, unitary air handler, vertical air handler with a high wall. It gives you flexibility in a house off of 1 unit. So good discussion. So let's take a break and let's go to some questions if we can. All right, so we're going to go to the first question here. It's from our friends at Hagerstown Heating and Cooling. Thanks for returning to the show. You've been here in the past. So John Poyle has a question. Do we submit warranties through GREE Comfort or our distributor? So I'm going to give that one to Daniel. You're our service guy. Tell John how a warranty process works.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I know that's referring to, the introduction of moving from the PDF form of the warranty claim to the web form. To answer the question is you do not have to submit a warranty claim form just to get a warranty part. Go through your distributor. If you don't have a distributor and it happens to be something, you can go find a distributor, find out where it was purchased from. But if the only reason that we really are going to direct you there is if you call into tech support and you say, I have a refrigerant leak, and then we'll say, hey, go fill out the form and put your picture in there and submit that to us. And, we have to have a picture showing the leak location. The only other instance where we would ask for you to go there and fill out that form would be if it was purchased online. Otherwise, you go back to your distributor where you purchased the product, just ask them for a warranty part and they'll handle it hassle-free for you.
Okay, so just to recap, we registered the product for warranty, for extended warranty. That is done on greecomfort.com, right?
Correct, yes.
All right, great question. Thank you, John. All right, so the next question comes from Leo McKeithen at McKeithen Electrical and Mechanical Services. So, can you use any T-stat that is Wi-Fi? So I'm going to give that one to Greg. Can you take that one?
Yeah, I can take it. So it depends on what product you're dealing with there. So if you're talking about any thermostat, so MultiPro, if you want to use like a conventional thermostat that has Wi-Fi, then you're going to have to use a 24-volt interface. The interface will integrate with the MultiPro equipment, and then the interface will also integrate with the thermostat. Then that thermostat would be, if it's Wi-Fi compatible, would allow you to use any thermostat with Wi-Fi capability. But and I always kind of, when a general question comes in like that, it's like, okay, so which product line are we talking about? Are we talking about MultiPro? Are we talking about mini splits? So with the mini splits, we do have 24-volt interfaces as well. But in a lot of those applications, you don't necessarily have to use any thermostat because a lot of the units are already set up to be Wi-Fi, like the wall mounts and stuff like that. So it kind of depends on the product. So to just say, yeah, you can use any thermostat across all product lines, I can't answer that question. It kind of depends on what product we're talking about and what the capabilities of that product are as far as whether you're using a thermostat. But MultiPro, you can do it with a 24-volt interface, and and mini splits, you can do it with a 24-volt interface as well.
Okay.
There's also the Wi-Fi wall controller, Greg, like for the multi-cassette, the multi-slim duct. There is a wall controller. I believe it's XE72, and that is a Wi-Fi capable wall controller.
Yeah, thanks for that, because I forgot to mention that I was going to, and I didn't. So thank you. It's hard to remember it all because if you're not looking up the specifications, or looking at information pertaining to that product specifically, that's where these general questions can be kind of tricky to answer sometimes. So.
Right. Then of course, the flex. Yes, right. You could just use that. You can use a Wi-Fi thermostat.
There you go. A completely different product line.
Right.
That whatever thermostat you use, as long as it's Wi-Fi compatible, you're good to go. So
right.
So let's get Justin into the fray here. We got a question that needs his expertise, kind of on the Wi-Fi conversation. So Justin, this is the question from John Boyle of Hagerstown Heating and Cooling. Is the Wi-Fi available on all models or select models?
So the Wi-Fi comes standard on select models. So for example, our ductless residential line, the wall mount units have the Wi-Fi radio built in. So those come ready to go. You don't have to buy any separate adapters or anything. With the free match style heads, or specialty types such as the cassette, ducted, floor console, you would utilize a separate wall control that Daniel was talking about, the XE72. That wall control will allow you to have the Wi-Fi capability. Similar with the MultiPro line, if you want to have Wi-Fi with those heads, you would use the new Wi-Fi enabled wall control that we just released. And then, of course, with regards to the Flex, you can use any standard 24-volt heat pump Wi-Fi enabled thermostat in that situation. The Flex, being a 24-volt system, doesn't come with a Wi-Fi radio already in it. So that's kind of how we're set up across the line.
So remind me, just for my own reference, on the Wi-Fi enabled wall control for the MultiPro, what was that part number again? You call it out?
I don't recall it off the top of my head. I can get it here in a minute.
Was it the XC72 that was mentioned?
That's the XC72 is the ductless Wi-Fi controller.
Yeah, I believe it's the XC, was it the XC70/C?
Yeah, that's what I believe. XC70/C, I believe it is. Good discussion. So Leo, if you need more clarification on your question, if you can put in another question. If you want something specific that we didn't answer, Leo, just put it in there and we'll be glad to answer it for you. So, all right, so we're going to move on down to the next question here. Leo has another question that I want to address to Greg, and it's kind of a broad question, but I'm not maybe even talking generalities. So Leo's question is, how do you keep the board from going bad? I'm assuming he's asking about like a main board or something on the unit. So Greg, can you take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to refer back to I can't remember if it was the last Talking Comfort Live or the one before that, where we talked with Keith Clark from ICM about using the ICM 493, which is a voltage / surge protection module that would wire in between your disconnect and the unit to help protect that unit from surges or high voltage. Because we firmly believe that is why a lot of the boards are failing. So because of surge, especially, but also because of voltage. So, and then recently, Daniel and I just did an install video, and that's posted on YouTube. So if you just go to YouTube and then go to GreeComfort.com, you'll see the single zone mini split that we installed, and we showcase that ICM 493, and we talk about the capabilities of it. Now, I'm not going to say that, ICM 493 is the only one to go with. There's other manufacturers as well. That's just what we had the ability to do at the time. But so an ICM 493 or something that has similar capabilities as to protecting that unit. And I've even seen recent posts just on LinkedIn of other people talking about using surge / voltage protection with inverter driven units and how well they protect those units and keep boards from failing. So that would be my recommendation, that if we're not doing some sort of a surge protection and voltage protection to these units when we install them, then it might be a good idea to start investing into that, and it'll help protect the units and also save face with the customer as well.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in and also say that in addition to voltage issues, heat is also a major killer of a lot of our main boards. And these main boards typically have a heat sink mounted in the system. So whenever you're doing your annual preventative maintenance, you just want to make sure that heat sink is nice and clean. It's not full of dust or debris and everything, so it can actually release the heat properly off that board.
Good input.
Let's take that one step further real quick, Justin. So I want to explain that a little better. In the air channel of the condenser, you'll see these aluminum fin things sticking out, and that's the air. The air from the condenser fan passes over that. That's that heat sink he's talking about, making sure it stays clean so that it gets good airflow across it, and we get good heat transfer so that board can be cooled off. Now we since have, as James was talking about with the new MultiPro, the GMV6, the VV series, the Ultra in 3-ton, 4-ton, and 5-ton, those have liquid cooled inverters. So I don't want you looking for something that's not there, but if you look at the board, the liquid line goes up in a big U-turn, and it's an aluminum channel, and it transfers the heat into that liquid refrigerant. So that is going to be less susceptible to dirt like you're talking about, but most of the equipment out there has exactly what Justin was saying, where you just got the heat sink on there. So we do need to be mindful.
Please please use caution. Be conscientious when you're cleaning, if you're cleaning a heat sink, because the board is attached to it from the other side. So if you're using a water hose to spray up, the units aren't designed for water to go up. So keep that in mind.
Great point. I would
advice as
recommend compressed air for that.
Compressed air is great. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so I think it's all good points, guys. One thing I think that we want to stress here is that, these systems work so well, they're quiet, they work great. A lot of times there's a tendency to forget that they need routine maintenance, that it's real important that we do spring, for contractors, you need to get these things on spring and fall checks. Make sure you're going out and checking the units for, like these guys are recommending, because they're in the service call and they're in the service line or adjusted in the product line. And we're seeing what it is. And so there's a lot of preventative things that can be done on, to as far as maintenance, plus these voltage monitors / protectors to keep the boards from failing. So good.
And if you can't get your customer to do twice a year, get them to do at least once a year.
Yes.
At minimum once a year. But I do recommend, like Dwayne was saying, twice a year inspections.
So, okay, so good feedback. So let's go on to the next question. So we have one from Youssef at Smart Refrigeration Services. So Justin, I'm gonna give this one to you. Can we use reflex condensing unit to match existing other manufacturer air handlers? So I think that they're asking, can they put a GREE on another manufacturer's air handler?
Yes, you can. In fact, there are other manufacturers out there such as ADP and Aspen who create 24-volt controlled 410A air handlers, and they're actually rated. So if you go on AHRI, you can find those ratings. Now with other manufacturers, Trane, Carrier, any of the other major manufacturers, you won't find AHRI ratings. That being said, as long as the indoor unit is 24-volt controlled, R410A for the time being, and has a TXV in it, you can pair it with the Flex Outdoor unit and it will run.
Good answer. So, all right. So let's see where we're at here. So, all right. Do we have any new questions in the chat? Take a look here. All right. So this is the question that somebody, I'm new to the show. Has GREE made a decision on what refrigerant they're going to go to as far as the A2L conversion? So Justin, that's for you. So the question is, what refrigerant are going to be using in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, as we've been discussing for quite a while, maybe even earlier in the show, we talked about R32. So we're going to R32 moving forward. A couple of reasons for that. One, people are going to find out that it's less expensive. It's much more available. It's been in the market for many, many years. It's been used all over Asia and Europe for a long time. Has a proven track record. It's more efficient, has better capacity. It's pretty much everything, you'd want to compare to some of the other refrigerants that are coming along in this A2L transition. R32 is just simply the superior refrigerant. And that's why we're going with it.
Okay, good feedback. All right, for the studio team. So we thank you all for being patient with us today. We've had some technical glitches. A tornado hit the area where our broadcast is, so we lost Wi-Fi just before the show started. So it's been a little bit of a challenge today, but thank you for being patient with us. So guys, I think everybody's got in. It's been a really good show as far as discussion. So kind of going around. So it was a great show. We had a lot of topics. So Daniel, from the information you presented, any additional comments you'd like to add for the group or for the audience today?
I think we covered it, especially with the question that John was kind enough to ask. But just to recap a little bit, the Wi-Fi, when you're hooking up Wi-Fi, always double check that password for your Wi-Fi in the GREE app. That's usually where I find the issue. And if you're not quite sure, you need some help, please feel free to reach out, call the tech team, and you may even get to talk to me.
That would be a bonus in itself. So, hey, Justin, you have anything else you want to add as far as anything coming down the line as far as GREE product? Anything you want to just kind of say to the audience that we haven't covered maybe today?
Yeah, so I kind of talk about more on long lines of the A2L transition and the inventory. So the way we're kind of running with production schedules and everything, we and most of the distributors out there will be running through the summer with 410A inventory. We're planning to have replenishment orders for the R32 product put in, towards the end of July, first part of August. And that way we're going to have that inventory arrive in the US probably around the November timeframe. So that way we can stock up before the changeover. But for right now, just expect 410A from us to kind of run through the summer.
Okay, good. All right, so we got a couple of new questions here. All right, so we've got one from Andy at TNA Supply. And so I'm going to give this one to you, James. And it's on the MultiPro Wi-Fi stat that was just released. Can you update an already installed MultiPro system to get Wi-Fi by replacing the older stats?
Yes, anything that is rated for our GMV product line, like our MultiPro, any of the controls that are rated for that are able to be updated at any time. So if you want to swap to a different one, we've got different options for a number of years. They can be swapped out effectively on the fly. So
the same communication protocol as in the
same
past.
communication protocol. That's right. Disconnect power. Remove the old one, hook the other one up with the two wires that are already there, turn power back on, and you're ready to go.
Okay. All right. So then we have another question from Adam Huffman at Baker Distributing. And so the question here is, why does GREE include stats with some systems, but not all systems? Also, why are some of the controls plug and play and some are 18.2? Is this going to be simplified in the future? Justin, you want that, or Justin or James, you guys want to talk about that together?
So I'll jump in and talk about why GREE includes certain things and not others. And it's not a simple answer, but the answer is because of what happens globally, what they include in the Asian market, in the Middle Eastern market. So most of the products are capable of being controlled by a handheld remote. And that's plenty. That's what those customers like. It's what they want. So when those products are brought over here, I know most Americans are used to those wall controls, but when you start looking at sales and comparing markets and everything, the remotes kind of went out. And so it would cost them more to kind of do things separately from the rest of the world just for the American market. So it's just kind of like a, economy of scale kind of thing, so that way when you're looking at this, typically only the products like the ducted or the cassette, things that are going to be hard to control with remote, those are going to be the items that come with the wall control. So it just comes down to financials.
So refresh my memory. I know we send them with the wired controller with the ducted. Do we send them with the cassettes too, or is it just the ducted only?
On the residential ductless side, I know we do. James, do we send the wall control with the cassette on the MultiPro side?
We do not. We all of our ductless units on the MultiPro side include the wireless controller, while the ducted units include the wired.
Yeah, so it's just the ducted, and then okay. All right, so now the follow-up question, thank you, Justin, that was very helpful, is why are some controls plug and play and some are 18.2? Is this going to be simplified in the future? Is that, reading the question, James, is that trying, because the 18.2 communication with MultiPro and the ductless ducted are different? Can you kind of maybe give a little clarification for Adam on that one?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're not limited, if we can include a 900-foot cable, for example, with every controller on the GMV systems, because remember that for our commercial systems they've got the same type of communication protocol. So you're limited to 920 feet on the communication cable. So like how long would you like that to be, right? So that's part of it. Plus you're already using that communication cable for those indoor units, between the indoor units and outdoor units. So you've already got that on the job. So that's part of the reason why it doesn't include like a Molex connector or a wiring harness. And I would say that's probably just, as far as keeping the two, they're separate product lines, but keeping it standard on the MultiPro side of things because you already got the 18.2.
Yeah, we have two different communication protocols, ductless to MultiPro. And so that probably is the plug and play, I think, probably referring to the ductless wired controllers. Would you guys all agree to that, what we're asking here?
Correct.
Correct.
The 18.2 on the MultiPro side, because they're two different communication protocols. That's probably going to pretty much stay the same in the future, isn't it, guys? All of what he's asking.
You know, and to make it a little simpler too, just because I like simple explanations of things.
Yes.
So like, for example, the MultiPro air handler or a ducted unit, there is no way that unit's going to be installed where the remote can actually talk to the unit. Such as like a wall mount hanging up there, you can easily point the remote at the wall mount and control it. So the remote's got to be able, the unit's got to be able to receive that signal. So if the air handler's up in an attic or in a basement or something, it can't. Neither can a ducted. So that's why on those systems always will have a wired controller sent with it, because it's the only way that machine's going to be able to be controlled. Now, if you have a wired controller, then you can add a remote, because the wired controllers have a receiver on them, and they can use the remote if they want as well.
Okay.
So just to try to simpler explanation of why, you know, some units come with wired controllers and some don't.
All right, good. So we got a follow-up question from our friend Leo McKeithen of McKeithen Electrical Mechanical. He wants to know, I believe he's asking about the service checker. What is the name of the GREE checker? Are we talking to the service checker? Does it have a set name, Justin?
So this would be for the duct-free splits on the residential side and multi-zone. We just call it the debugger. It's a debugging tool. We've heard referred to sometimes as the service tool, but the factory itself calls it the debugger.
Okay. And those can be purchased from your GREE distributor. It's got to they're in the system. The information is on greecomfort.com on these two as well, isn't it, guys?
And remember, there's two different ones. There's a single zone service tool and there's a multi-zone service tool.
Oh, that's actually a good point to bring up. So I just got information on our new accessories coming up. So the latest version of the debugger will do both single zone and multi-zone.
That's good to hear. I like that.
Yeah.
When will those be available?
I didn't even know that.
How far out will those be available?
Thinking probably around the June, July timeframe.
Okay. All right. So Leo, it's called Debugger. You can find information on our GREE Comfort site for it, but right as Greg pointed out, currently there's two tools, one for single zone, multi-zone, and in the future, as Justin pointed out, we're going to have one tool that will do both, but we're probably not going to see that till later in the summer.
And then there's also a portable service tool for MultiPro.
Yeah.
So and then James, is that called a debugger too? I think it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it says portable.
Well, actually, no, it's the portable. Well, they call it the portable commissioning tool, but
it is actually a service tool.
Yeah, we could just call it debugger as well. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
So right now there's three different ones, but as Justin mentioned, the money split side's going to one. It'll do multi-zone and single zone. That's amazing. I like that. That people are gonna like that because before they're having to buy two different service tools. This way they only have to buy one. I really like that. That's great to hear.
All right. Okay. Well, let's see if we have any more questions. Leo, you're welcome. Thank you for your questions. So we have anything else in the studio? Any questions? All right. Well, we're getting about the top of the hour, so we're ready to start signing off. So I want to say thank you to the panel today, each of you, for your input. Thank you for the content. So we want y'all to, for the audience, thank you again for signing in, giving us the time to learn more about GREE. So make sure you tune in next month. We got some exciting stuff we're going to be releasing next month. We're going to be talking to you next month about a new training app or a training program we have called GREE University that the team here has all been working on. Everybody on the panel has put a lot of time into GREE University. So next month, we're going to be talking more about GREE University, plus some new product updates that are coming. And always we'll be taking your questions. So thanks again for your time. Thank you for joining. We look forward to seeing you and talking to you all next time. Have a good day.
Hey, thanks for watching Talking Comfort Live with GREE HVAC. Make sure to keep a lookout for an invite to our next show, or subscribe to our GREE Comfort YouTube channel to make sure you get notified anytime we release new content.